artifact here that we just saw up on the wall, and it's a Japanese rank flag, and it flew on Admiral Yamamoto's flagship, the Nagato, and he was the designer of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and his battleship was back at Japan. The 6 carriers that were going to conduct the attack were out off of the coast of Hawaii. So he sent the order, the command to proceed, which was climb Mount Nataka. They proceeded with their attack. When they realized how successful it was, they radioed back, Tora, 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 which was a confirmation that the attack had been a success. So it's called a rank flag. And we captured this battleship off of the coast at the end of the war when they surrendered. And that flag was taken off of the ship, came to America, and then eventually found its way into our collection. So we're standing in front of a mobile maintenance machine shop that the Army would have used as part of its tactical and logistical support. You have to recall that World War II is a mechanized, motorized war, and we have a lot of machinery that's going to need to be repaired. So a vehicle like this on a GMC truck body was extremely important. It would follow behind the battle line and be able to do repairs on damaged vehicles in order to keep them in good operating order and therefore allow the armies to move forward and keep the pressure on the enemy. So there was a lot of welding and cutting going on, and 2 unique items that we have here are acetylene gas generators. So there's a technique called oxyacetylene welding, and the engineers, mechanics, needed to create their own acetylene gas while they were in the field. So we have 2 acetylene generators here, where the chemical is placed at the top, it drops into the bottom where there's water, and acetylene gas is produced to be mixed with oxygen and then used to light torches. So right now we're looking at the interior of the mobile maintenance machine shop. And as you scan through the shop, you can see it looks like something that someone would have in their garage or their basement or even a factory here in the States. You have a lathe, grinding, generators. There's that oxyacetylene tank that I talked about with the oxygen for welding and cutting. So everything that the mechanics would need to maintain equipment is located here. We're scanning now on the exterior of the truck, and it had these adjustable workbenches and an adjustable roof so that when we move forward, remember this is a mobilized war, as we move forward, this truck can be folded inward and follow behind. So we're standing in front of a Sherman M4 tank that was manufactured in 1945. The tank crew consisted of 5 people. The driver, who would be situated under this hatch, the assistant driver and machine gunner, who sits on this side of the vehicle. Then we have a tanker that loads the artillery piece. We have a tanker that aims and fires it. And then we have a commander farther up in the turret. So it's a 5-man crew, and they worked as a team to keep this tank in action. This particular tank has a 105 millimeter howitzer on it. And we're going to look down here at an example of what a shell would look like that would be fired out of this. The triangle is the symbol for the tank group, and this is the 2nd Armored. And this helmet is unique because it has a soldered on brass enameled insignia. And the owner of this helmet also attached barbed wire around the rim.
Now, is that German barbed wire?
Well, it could be. My supposition is that he wanted to show how tough he was. And he did that by attaching barbed wire. So we're in front of another M4 Sherman tank. This one has some variations to it. First of all, it's in the artillery piece, which is a 76 millimeter. You'll notice it's a lot longer and a little bit smaller bore in the rifling. Therefore, it takes a shell that's a different size than what we looked at when we were viewing the howitzer. You can see how this shell is somewhat narrower and longer. We're still going to have the same 5-man crew. And another added feature on this tank was the unique storage for the ammunition. This had what was called wet stowage. And there was a compartment lower in the body of the tank where the artillery shells were stored, and there was a fluid surrounding those shells to help minimize combustion should some molten metal come flying in to the turret area. So now we're in front of a tank destroyer. This is an M36 tank destroyer. So there was a doctrine, an anti-armor doctrine, that the Army attempted to employ against Nazi tanks. And that was to develop a specialized vehicle that could lie in wait and then come out when it was needed to intercept a breakthrough of German armor. And in order to be effective at doing that, they needed a much larger artillery piece. And this gun on here is a 90 millimeter gun, and it is much longer and of a larger bore than the 76 millimeter that we just looked at. And this is also illustrated in the type of artillery shell that's fired. You can see the diameter and the length of this shell is much larger. This was designed to penetrate German armor and act as a tank destroyer.